Every morning, a man walks his dogs. To the casual observer, it's a normal routine, just another pet owner out for a stroll. He walks through parks, greets the occasional passerby, and enjoys the company of his two dogs, Bella and Buzo. But what if I told you that there was something much deeper behind his daily walks? Something so unbelievable that no one could have ever imagined? Today, we're diving into a story that seems like an ordinary daily routine, but with a shocking twist. What if I told you that this man's life wasn't as simple as it seemed? That behind his innocent morning walks, he was hiding a secret so extraordinary that it would completely change the way people saw him? Stay with us as we uncover this unbelievable secret that no one saw coming. In a small town, there lived a man named Raj. Every morning, without fail, he took his two dogs, Buzo and Bella, for a walk. His routine was the epitome of simplicity. Wake up at 6 a.m., leash the dogs, and head out the door for a stroll around the neighborhood park. Everyone knew Raj as the friendly man with the dogs. He'd stop to chat with neighbors, exchange a few words with the joggers, and then continue his walk, as normal as could be. There was nothing unusual about Raj. He was just another person in the neighborhood, living a peaceful life with his beloved pets. His routine seemed like the most mundane part of his day, something people didn't think twice about. But what they didn't realize was that Raj's seemingly ordinary mornings were anything but. For months, he followed the same path. The park, the streets, and the familiar faces, everything felt like clockwork. But as it is with any good story, there's always more than meets the eye. There was something hidden in Raj's routine, something that, when revealed, would leave people stunned. The truth was that Raj wasn't just a simple pet owner. His life was tied to something far bigger than anyone could have guessed. Raj lived alone, so his dogs were not only his pets but also his closest companions. They had been with him through thick and thin, always by his side. He had trained them to be well-behaved and obedient, taking them on long walks each morning to release their energy and keep them healthy. To outsiders, this was just the life of a dedicated dog owner. But Raj had other plans for his dogs, plans no one could have ever imagined. Every morning as he walked with Bella and Buzo, he was following a hidden agenda. The path he took through the park was familiar to everyone, but the direction he went after that was not. People often wondered why Raj seemed to disappear into certain areas of the park that were not as visible from the main walking trails. Most just assumed he was a quiet man who preferred some solitude. What they didn't know was that Raj's walks were far from ordinary. Behind those peaceful morning strolls was a secret life, one that no one ever expected to uncover. One day, while Raj was walking his dogs as usual, something caught the attention of a group of curious onlookers. This time, instead of following the typical route, Raj took a different path, one that seemed more secluded and hidden from view. The path led through a series of overgrown trees and past a small, seemingly abandoned shed. The onlookers, who had always seen Raj as the friendly neighborhood dog walker, now found themselves puzzled. Why had he suddenly chosen this route? As Raj continued down the path, he didn't seem to notice the curious glances from the people behind him. He walked with purpose, leading Bella and Buzo into an area that no one had ever noticed before. This path, hidden from the main park, seemed to have some significance. It was almost like Raj was leading them to a secret location. The onlookers couldn't resist. They quietly followed Raj from a distance, wanting to see where he was headed. When they reached the end of the path, they couldn't believe their eyes. What they discovered was so unexpected that it changed everything they thought they knew about Raj. They had stumbled upon a secret, and it was far more than they could have imagined. At the end of the path was a small gate, which led to a hidden courtyard. This place was unlike any other part of the park. It was a secluded area, surrounded by tall fences and thick vegetation. The air here felt different, as if it carried a sense of mystery. Raj walked up to the gate and opened it with a key. The onlookers stood frozen, unsure of what to do. They had never seen this part of the park before. Inside the courtyard, there was a small building that looked like a storage shed. But this wasn't just any shed. The structure was well maintained, with neatly arranged crates and boxes piled in the corner. The dogs, Bella and Buzo, seemed to know exactly where they were going. They led Raj to one of the crates, and that's when the onlookers saw it. Inside the crate were small, hidden packages. Raj took one of the packages and stuffed it into a special pouch hidden in Bella's collar. The dogs were not just pets, they were part of something far bigger. The packages contained messages, and Bella was going to deliver one of them. The onlookers were stunned. Raj, the man they thought they knew, was involved in something much more complex than just walking his dogs. They had discovered the first piece of the puzzle, but there was so much more to learn. When the onlookers finally realized what was going on, they were left in shock. Raj wasn't just walking his dogs, he was using them to transport secret messages and supplies. The dogs, Bella and Buzo, were part of an elaborate system that Raj had been running for months. But why would Raj, a seemingly ordinary man, get involved in such a secret operation? What was the purpose of these deliveries? Raj had been a part of a covert network, one that operated quietly in the shadows, far from the public eye. The network wasn't involved in illegal activities or nefarious deeds. Instead, it aimed to deliver essential supplies and information to communities that needed them most. Raj had been recruited years ago, and his love for his dogs had made him the perfect candidate for such an unconventional mission. His dogs could move freely, unnoticed, and they were loyal enough to complete the tasks given to them. Each morning, Raj would go through his usual routine, but the destination wasn't just the park. It was a carefully planned route, designed to avoid detection. The messages that Raj carried weren't just for a few people, they were vital to a larger cause. The messages were encrypted, ensuring that even if someone intercepted them, they wouldn't be able to understand what they meant. Raj had built a reputation as a trustworthy man in his community, and that was precisely why he was chosen. He had access to places and people that others couldn't reach, and he was discreet enough to pull it off without suspicion. His dogs, Bella and Buzo, had been trained to follow a specific path, delivering messages and supplies at just the right time. As the truth about Raj's secret operation came to light, the onlookers realized that they had stumbled upon something much bigger than they could have ever imagined. Raj had been part of an underground network working to improve the lives of people in need. He wasn't a spy or a criminal. He was a man with a mission that used his love for his pets to bring about positive change. Once the truth was out, the community began to understand the significance of Raj's actions. It wasn't about secrecy for the sake of secrecy, it was about protecting the people who were working behind the scenes to make a difference. Raj's work was essential to the success of the network's operations. The messages he delivered contained critical information about community needs, from medical supplies to food donations and shelter arrangements. The network Raj was part of operated in various towns, reaching out to people who were often overlooked by traditional aid systems. They were able to send resources and support to the right places, right when they were needed. Raj and his dogs were the quiet heroes in this mission, working day in and day out without ever seeking recognition. His daily walks were more than just exercise, they were vital to the success of this mission. The dogs, Bella and Buzo, had been trained meticulously. They were not just pets, they were part of a sophisticated communication system. They were able to navigate through busy streets, bypassing security and avoiding detection. The network relied on the dogs to carry out their deliveries without arousing suspicion, and they did it flawlessly. They were more reliable than any human courier could ever be. Raj's life had been one of quiet service. He had been a part of something much larger than himself, something that had the power to change lives. And yet, no one knew. No one suspected the man who greeted them with a smile each morning, walking his dogs through the park, was actually working tirelessly to help those in need. As the story spread, people began to realize the importance of Raj's actions. He wasn't just a pet owner, he was a man on a mission, and his mission had made a real difference. Bella and Buzo had been more than just pets, they had been his partners in a journey that few could even comprehend. In the end, Raj's story was one of dedication, loyalty, and service. He had found a way to use his love for animals to help others, and in doing so, had become an unsung hero of his community. His actions showed that sometimes, the most extraordinary things happen in the most unexpected ways. So, there you have it. What seemed like an ordinary morning walk turned out to be the heart of a much larger, much more complex operation. Raj's life, which appeared so simple and peaceful, was actually tied to something that could change the course of events for an entire community. His dogs, Bella and Buzo, were not just pets, they were part of a secret mission that no one could have ever guessed. What do you think about Raj's secret mission? Do you think his methods were justified, or was it all just too dangerous? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing tales like this one. And remember, sometimes the most ordinary things can hold the greatest secrets. See you next time.